To me is a lot of what we talked about earlier, which is that um, you, for example, in jujitsu, you teach a beginner's class, right? And people come in, and some people start out here, and they're going to here. Other people start out here, they're going to there, and it's okay. Everyone starts at different levels, but ultimately, like wherever someone starts, it's we know that they want to make progress, right? And we know that making mistakes and screwing up and failing and getting frustrated and all that stuff is like it's 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 unavoidable, right? And so for me, iteration is just truly reframing those things to where like their feedback, their data, you kind of want them to a certain extent. Like you really want to be the person who goes into something new and just owns it and like beats the
No,
instructor. Like, no, then jujitsu wouldn't be worth a shit. I tell people that all the time when they like a new student comes in and like, you hop in, you beat them up or whatever, like easily, like you should. It's like I got beat up easily my first time. And they go, oh, they're like almost pissed
yeah,
that
like
they didn't do better. It's like, and I always like reframe it like, hey, jujitsu is supposed to be like really legit. If you came in here with no experience and you like scored on me or submitted me or did anything to me, and I've been training for like 12 years, like I would just leave if I was you.
yeah,
Like I'd
what's the
say
point?
jujitsu's
Yeah, it's not
fucking
pointless
useless.
to me. Yeah,
Yeah. So, but so in jujitsu and in nutrition and personal training, like when I start with somebody, I like to frame it as like, hey, this is your plan. This is version 1.0, right? Meaning it's we are redesigning this plan when we run into when we go out in the real world and apply it, right? Or like I forget who said this, but they said like when you get your nutrition plan or your training plan or whatever, and then you got to go out and do it with your schedule and your family and your environment and stuff like that. And that is someone said it's like rubbing up your plan against reality, like the friction of that. And it's like, and then they go and maybe they don't do nearly as good as they thought they were going to do with their nutrition or their training or whatever. And let's be honest, most people where their heads at, like they think, oh, I should be better at this. Like, I shouldn't be making mistakes. I shouldn't be like, oh, I binge ate, I did this, I did that, I missed my workouts. Like it's there.
Let it snowball.
Yes. And iteration is about testing, training, not just testing, right? Practicing, not just competing. Just like in jiu-jitsu, if the white belts who are there to just compete every single night, if they're testing themselves, right? And they don't get very good if they're not there, like just training and then once in a while testing themselves, right? Um, so for me, iteration is just a principle that every company uses, right?
Right.
This shout out,
Newtonic.
Newtonic. This was not their first draft.
No,
right?
He's very open about that. Yeah,
Yes.
it took him like 14 tries,
Okay,
14 different
so
formulas
this might be
before they got it or something.
exactly. That's iteration.
Yeah,
Every
okay.
company does it.
Get
and
better
so
and better. Or
yeah,
different.
he didn't go in.
Versions.
He didn't go into that with all this money saying, all right, we're gonna make this energy drink, and version 1, it needs to knock everybody's socks off and be perfect. If not, I quit. We wouldn't be drinking this here.
Right.
It's tasty peach drink. Okay.
Mhm.
So it is. But so it's that same principle, right?
Yeah.
You just gotta it's like it's not try, fail, and then quit, which is what everybody does. And ironically, that makes their whole journey a lot longer. Right. I said this recently on, one of my posts, but it's true, is like the amount of time between the last time you quit and the next time you try, it might be months and years. Like that actually
The thing if you never
makes
quit.
Yeah, it makes it way longer. It doesn't seem like that. Like you seem like you're saving yourself time, but you're not, right? Not if you do 10 diets in 10 years and 10 attempts and you gain 10 more pounds every time, which a lot of people do. So yeah, so for me, iteration is a way to make you fail proof, because day one, I have to tell my clients when I onboard, I'm like, hey, you can't fail. You can't fuck this up. Like the only way I can't get you there and you can guarantee that you're not going to get your results, and this is not going to make it easier, but it's like, just don't quit. Don't quit. Take that off the table. And then you don't have to make that decision every time you fuck up. So what do? You go out, you try it, and then you come back after week 1, and either things went really well or they went okay, or you come back and you didn't do anything and you found it all too hard. You did terrible. And we go, either way, like We got data now. Figure it out. So it's like, okay. And then just problem solve, be solution focused. I don't want to talk too much about your problems. I don't want to talk about, uh, why your kids are making it hard for you to go to the gym. I don't want to talk about why, you keep missing your workouts, you keep getting distracted, or you keep doing this or that. Like let's not talk about the problem past a certain point. Let's identify it, but then let's not just keep talking about that and feeling bad about that. We don't need it, right? But like, what's the solution? Let's be really like overly logical here, and like, let's be like, if you're gonna run into this situation again, and you are, what's something we could do to do a little bit better next time? Not perfect, but better. And that's it. So like, I don't care what mistakes people run into or how they think they screwed up or whatever. Like, as long as they're willing to communicate and just keep going, right? It's because you got to zoom out, right? Yeah, in the context of like, oh, a day or a week or whatever, like same things seem such a big deal and dramatic. But when you zoom out, it's like, okay, you had a couple bad days here, but like you've just, I still deal with this with people who I've been working with for months, as though they'll have a really rough weekend, especially around the holidays. And then, their check-in's kind of negative and they're kind of beating up themselves. And then I come in with just a little more neutral perspective and I pull up their track and I zoom out and I go, hey, you had 12 weeks leading up to this screw up where you absolutely crushed it. Like, let's zoom out a little bit. Like it's a drop in the ocean. It doesn't matter. Right. So people got to zoom out a little bit on their timeline and really, really think about the long game here. And also,
It just goes back to our society wanting that quick fix.
Yeah.
Quick everything.
Yep. And it's funny because like my son does iteration. Your kids do iteration.
Yeah.
Like
Sure.
if he would have, like he's trying to ride his little balance bike right now.
Yeah.
And if the first time he got on it and he fell over and he just goes, you know what? I don't think biking's for me. I'm just gonna,
Walk.
I shouldn't have failed that. Like, no, he doesn't give a shit. He'll just keep trying. He doesn't have that sense of self yet, right? He doesn't have that ego, that guilt, that shame, that pressure that we put on ourselves. So, it's funny how easily we forget that. And I think things like jujitsu or sports as adults, like, can kind of bring us back to that and remind us, like, you're not supposed to be good at everything. Like, just get better, and you're not supposed to be perfect. So, yeah, that principle has been really, really a nice reframe for me. Cause then you go, you're not the problem. The plan is the problem. The plan needs to be modified. Now, sometimes, don't get me wrong, the plan is perfect and we just need to work on the mindset and adherence and like what's the instead of people are going to run into internal and external obstacles, right? And external obstacles we can problem solve for, right? It might be time blocking. It might be environmental. It might be having more assertive conversations with the people in your life or your coworkers. But where people, so that's fine. That's where like sometimes nutrition and fitness, what people need isn't even the things that they think they need. They need to learn how to be more organized, like I did. They need to learn time blocking. They need to learn
Time blocking change.
Yeah.
Everything
Changed
for
my
me.
life.
how to be really comfortable saying, hey, no, thank you.
Yes.
Right?
It's power.
Hey, you want another beer?
Yeah.
Hey, don't be lame. Like, let's have this pizza. And in some contexts, having that pizza is going to align with your goals and values. Other times it's not. And you got to be like super comfortable saying, hey, no, thank you. And not explaining yourself, not saying, oh, no, I'm on a diet. I can't. That sounds weak. You're going to crack.
Yeah.
Right. So anyways, external obstacles, we all have them, right? What is it? Is it time? Is it money? Is it a skill we need to learn? That's fine. We can problem solve that, solution focused. And then use iteration. We can design your environment, design your schedule, influence the people around you, and we can get better. The problem that most people don't realize is they're trying to solve internal problems the way they solve external problems. And what I mean by that is like all of the uncomfortable, undesirable, like thought patterns, sensations, impulses, emotions, beliefs, stories that, whether it's someone's having like cravings or hunger or whatever, which we can mitigate, but like it's okay, right? We don't have to treat those as something that we have to wait until it goes away, or we have to make it go away, or we have to act on it. Like that's where people get into trouble, right? Every little thing that pops into the head, they try to problem solve it, right? Or I don't feel motivated, therefore I won't go to the gym, or I won't do this, and then they're just waiting. They're waiting for lightning to strike, which is kind of what motivation is, right? you can try to generate it yourself. You can hype yourself up, but like we need something.
Discipline.
We need something more stable than those kind of fleeting things that we can't, necessarily control. So yeah, that's the biggest shift for me right now is like being like really practical problem solving, like external obstacles, right? And practicing, which everything's practice for these clients, right? It's like, here's one of our coaches on staff used the term reps recently with coaching stuff, and I was like, that makes sense. You do reps in jiu-jitsu,
right?
Or anything, really.
Reps and everything.
Go get reps. It's like, hey son, go get reps on that balance bike. Like,
I say the same thing. In like I was talking to my broker at my real estate company yesterday, and we're talking about a guy, bringing someone on as like a team member, to help me. And it's like I remember when I first started, I just wanted to get as many reps as possible, get as many transactions under my belt, just so I could figure this thing out.
Yeah, exactly.
And, just kind of look at that. But you can look at that for anything, whether it's jiu-jitsu, fitness, whatever your job is. I mean, but riding a balance bike, it's just all reps.
Yep. And so now applying that to things like nutrition and training and like just little lifestyle habits. Like, for example, there are people who I start working with who have never gone to a restaurant and ordered the healthier choice. They've just never done it, right? They know that it's probably a good thing to do sometimes, depending on the context, or a lot of the times, depending on the context, but they've never done it. So it's like, okay, let's go get some reps. Like by the time you have done that 10 times, you get it easier.
Right. For sure.
First couple times, it's like you're going to get a little pushback, but like go get 10 reps of, hey, stopping after 2 beers, right? Go get 10 reps of not finishing your plate. Or perfect example is like, I have 2 clients recently. One, we kind of talked about like, she was really associating every time she got a little buzzed or a little too drunk, she associated that with every time I drink and drink too much, I binge eat, right? I come home and I become a snack monster. She used that term. And that was the evidence that she had every time that is what happened. But it's like, okay, how can we could say, okay, yeah, just never drink again. Like that's not going to work. Right.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, we know that it's a possibility that you could go out and drink the same amount and not come home and snack, but you've never done it. Like, let's go get reps. And now at this point, this is months ago, she's done it probably 4 or 5 times. The first time she was really excited. She kind of shocked herself. She was like, wow, I got drunk and I didn't come home and eat everything and nothing happened. And I was fine. I still had the impulse, but like I just sat with it. I noticed it. I named it. I called it out and I let it be there. I didn't treat it as a problem to solve. And then rep 2, she's like, wow, did it again. Now she's like, eventually after a few reps, it's not just something you're trying anymore. It's something that you are. That's who you are. She is the person who can get drunk and not binge eat. Right. Another guy, same thing. He's like, hey man, I really like having my edibles at night, but every time I do,
I
get snacky and I blow my diet. Okay. Same thing for him. All right. Yeah. You can, his plan was like, stop edibles. Like, good. Probably do it. But you like them? You want to keep doing them? Like, I don't give a shit. Eat your edibles. But let's go get some reps. And now it's not a thing. He could if he wants to. It's not a rule that he can't eat when he's high, but he doesn't have to anymore. He still feels the impulse. He just lets it be there. Again, it's not we get into a lot of trouble when we treat every little thought that comes up as real and true, and we obey it or we try to resist it or make it go away. And that is where people get into trouble with food and alcohol and any vice. You want to feel better now and you'll deal with the consequences later. And that's kind of where a lot of people get stuck.
I was going to say, or you can just pull his act, use it as a performing answer to more food.
Well, yeah, because I'm eating a ton of calories, right? I'm trying to gain some weight right now.
Yeah.
I'm eating 3,300 calories right now.
Nice.
But there's been nights where I get home and I just didn't eat well during the day, and I've got 2,200 calories, and it's 7. I just got both kids to bed, and it's 8:30, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, I got a lot of food to eat. That's a lot of beef and rice. So
in that situation, yes, if you were my client in that situation, I would say, hey man, that's okay. One day is not going to matter, but like, what went wrong on the front end of your day so you don't show up at night with 2,200 calories left? Because you can eat it.
and I did. I
But
do.
like,
Yeah.
I'd rather you just say, all right, this day was kind of fucked. Let's problem solve that.
Sure.
Let's just organize our day a little bit better so that this doesn't happen to me again. Right. Because if it keeps people, what people do too is they'll run into like obstacles at work. Like, oh man, every time this person is around in the break room, we have this or that, whatever.
Cupcakes come out.
Yeah. And they go, oh, just, kind of caught me off guard. And they'll say that like 5 times. And then you go, hey man, this happens every week. It's not a surprise, not catching you off guard. It's going to keep happening. So like part of your life, not going to go away. Let's like make it better. How can we solution problem solve that? But yeah, gaining weight, that's a tough one.
It's tough, dude. I've been eating a ton for like
I wish I
3
had
or
that
4
problem.
months.
Yeah.
And I'm like barely scratching 180 right now.
White rice, brother.
White rice.
A lot of
and
rice.
Ground beef. That's
Yep.
been, cheeseburger bowls is what I make. It's like 300 grams of cooked rice and
Yep.
8 ounces of beef and 2 servings of cheese. And, it's just like
Yeah, it's
ketchup and pickles.
people think it's going to be all super fun, but like pretty hard.
It is.
Eating that much sucks.
It
Like,
does.
it's awful.
Like sometimes, it does get not fun.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling good. I've definitely put on a little bit of muscle.
Yeah.
So feeling good. I feel strong.
That's, with jujitsu athletes, hobbyists, like whatever you consider yourself, like at a certain point, once you're at a certain level of leanness, like you're not overweight, and you're thinking about weight classes and stuff like that. Or you even just look around the gym and you go, okay, like where do I stack up weight class wise to people around me? Because like the lighter you are, the more people that are above you, and
The more you're a victim.
yeah, it's true. So
As they
it's funny,
say at
like
Revive, if you're below 200 pounds, it's victim
weight.
weight.
Yeah, that is that way over there. But at a certain point, yeah, if you're kind of at a certain level of leanness, you're kind of like stuck with the decision, like, okay, I could keep getting leaner and lighter and like doing lighter weight classes, or like, okay, put on some fucking muscle. Let me go up a weight class. Like, and that's usually a really good path. Like you see so many competitors, high level competitors who like, you look at them 10 years ago, they were way lighter. Right. And so, yeah, I mean, that's why I used to compete at lightweight.
Oh yeah.
I used to be like,
So
when I first met my wife, she
168.
always talks about how freaking skinny I was. I was like 167, 168. And it was the leanest I'd ever been. But like when you're lower weight class, like now in the gym, even though I was an instructor, it was like now there's X amount of people in the gym more that are just like bigger than me. And it sucks. And I
Yeah.
can't pressure pass as much. And they're moving me around more. It's like I'm fast, but now they're moving me around more. I'm not as stable. So I like being a little bit bigger. For sure. Yeah. Makes life a little easier as you get older.
I feel like I feel like I'm like, I feel like my joints, I feel like I like armor,
It is, yeah.
and I look at it that way.
Yep.
I'm like, the more armor I build up around my joints and bones and stuff, the stronger I'm going to be.
Yeah.
I'm like more durable, I'm going to say.
Yep. And you got to take advantage of like your muscle building years, right? Because it does get not impossible.
Yeah. And that
eventually,
was
but
another thing. I was like, I'm in my early 30s.
Yep.
I got to, so if I'm going to try to put on some muscle, like this would be the time to do it.
Yeah.
Where, it's going to get harder as the older I get. So.
Well, yeah. And the point I really try to get across to people with muscle is like, it's really easy to maintain, like crazy easy. Hard to get, slow, but it's hard to lose, like genuinely hard to lose. So like people, I'm not huge, I'm not jacked by any means, but like people are surprised sometimes when, I tell them that for like 15 years, I've been lifting no more than 3 times a week.
That
That's it.
surprises me.
Yeah.
For how strong you are.
There you go. So, and honestly, for the last 2 years, or several years, just kiddo and stuff like that, sometimes it was 2. Now I've changed my schedule around. Like I'm really consistent this last month and I'm really seeing some good gains because I always get 3 in a calendar week. I was always on a 3-day program, but in a 7-day period, I might have gotten 2. Like really good quality sessions. But yeah, it's, once you build it and you have it, it's pretty easy to keep. And so, yeah, I urge people,
So
everybody.
3 lifting, 3 jiu-jitsu sessions a week, is that roughly your training schedule?
Yes. Minimum. That 3rd session on Friday is usually my shortest one because I'm just with
it's usually
whoever's.
with me.
I could pop over to Revive sometimes. I do, but sometimes I've like it's awkward because I've like gotten a good 30-minute session in with somebody and I'm like, all right, I got better today. Got a good little workout, and then it's like, all right, do I really go sit in my car for 30 minutes? get cold,
Yeah,
and then
get cold
go
and then go warm up
fight
again.
the
The
300-pound
gorillas
guys
over
at
there.
Revive. Yeah. So, but what I try to do, depending on my schedule, it's getting lighter right now with less holidays and stuff, is I'll pop over to Revive on Saturday once in a while. So then I get like 4 and like a quarter session. That's perfect. Like that, I can prep for a competition with that, but I can't do it just 3.
Do you have any competitions coming up?
No, work's getting a little wild right now. So it's just, I should be the type of person, I've said this plenty before, but I should be the type of person who can just like not put so much pressure on a competition and just like, these guys, they just jump in like every weekend, or they jump in with, no notice and just be like, I'll go test myself. I should be doing that just to get more experience. But no, I do like to run a good, like at least 8 to 12 week, like really prep for it. And I get really focused.
Yeah, I remember last time you.
Yeah, I get really, really focused. I turn the intensity up. Like it's everything's dials, right? So like my jujitsu dial goes up, and then like other things like dial down a little bit, which sometimes it's okay. And that's when I'll compete. But other times it's like right now, like I can't dial down work. I can't dial down this other stuff. So I won't. So I don't have any competitions planned unless Sweet talks me into something. And at this point, I want to do stuff I can drive to. Drive down to Memphis. Let's go to Nashville. Let's go to KC. Let's go to Chicago. That's kind of what I'm focused on. I like to do like 1 or 2 a year, and then if they keep doing the St. Louis one,
Yeah, I plan on doing that one.
Yeah.
Would you ever do one of those super fights like CXPGA or anything like that?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I've done them. I've done a few in the past. Back when it was like Fuji World Pro. I think I've lost every fucking one of them.
I know. I've lost every one I've done.
Yeah,
but Adam's doing another one here in May, and I was like, I mean, I'll do it if you got a guy my size. I'll do it.
Yeah,
I just got to fucking get a win under my belt. I'm 0-2 now.
At a certain point with those invite onlys too, like you keep going, you keep losing, and it's like, man, I shouldn't.
Maybe I should. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
if I lose this next one,
if you get
like
5 losses of invite onlys,
yeah,
and it's like, hang it up.
Just a hobbyist.
Yeah, put yourself in the kids with the kids opening.
Right. Yeah. I always do. I've done decent in tournaments.
Yeah.
It's just these one-off matches.
Yeah, you were that last one. You were doing pretty well. You just pulled that funky ass move on you.
You're like scarfold.
There's always
Americana.
that jiu-jitsu is. There's always that Hail Mary chance of they've got one move that's kind of silly that they hit in the gym and all their teammates know it.
Yep.
But unless you got footage on them and someone says, "Hey, look out, that guy's got a great loop choke," you don't know, and you get caught in it, and it's stupid. And maybe in the training room you beat that guy 10 times, but like he catches you, And for me, I've competed a decent amount, not relative to like other people, but I was never a great competitor. Just wasn't in anything. But this last time was my best mindset wise. I was in a really, really good place, and it kind of showed me like, okay, I can win these things. Like
especially at black belt.
I just need more experience. Yeah, I did really, really well. I started off each match with a takedown and winning like 5-0, almost both matches. And then I just, I find a way to lose. That's who I am. It's what I do. But I felt good mentally. And I just, I look at some of these competitors I was going against. I'm like, they compete every
weekend.
Yeah. Whatever. At least twice a month for years and years and years. And this is my first black belt. I didn't compete at brown belt at all. Like, what do I expect?
Right.
Should I go out and beat these guys when I'm not competing at all? Like, probably not. Just like I always think of like guys like Mark Vives, who nobody competes more than him. And yeah, if some like guy his age and his division, like who just competes once a year, good luck.
That dude's out there every weekend.
Yeah.
And he signs up the second that the tournament is available, just so that everybody knows that he was the first to sign up.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That's his.
Yeah, and you can't really say, okay, I don't deserve to beat this guy. Like that's not helpful. Like I'm trying to. I'm going out there. I'm in my head like I'm gonna win this. Like if my mind suggests anything different than that, or it's like, oh hey, this guy's really good. It's okay. Go ahead and lose. You did good. Get some points. My mind will suggest. My mind's like a little bitch most of the time. But instead of trying to make that stuff go away, now I'm just like, instead of just listening to my mind, I'm like talking to my mind. Like, and so one thing that I've learned in the last year is just like a little technique that I thought was really silly until I did it for my last jiu-jitsu competition. It's just like, every time that my mind I'd visualize a match coming up, and my mind would, it's not something you can control. My mind would feed me the image of the other guy getting his hand raised, or like me shooting a takedown and it missing, or me like just finding like losing, because that's what the evidence I've got for a lot of my competitions. I'm not that good of a competitor in the past, but now this time around, those things still came up, but instead of like trying to like, okay, breathe and like ignore it, you know, it's like I go, oh, thank you, mind, but that's not what's going to happen. Like, thank you, but
Oh, this is I'm gonna put this image in
Yeah.
of that I wanted.
yep, I'd say thank you. That's not very helpful, but I'm going to do this. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing what your mind can control. I know, like when I was playing baseball, especially when I was starting, because we knew pretty much everything through scouting reports before series, and I'd sit there the night before a start and just visualize my attack through the lineup, up
Yeah.
and down, and all that stuff. And it's amazing how much that can help, how much that can change, what your thought patterns are heading into it. And
It's
how
the
you feel.
difference maker.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yep. And I think that as a coach in both jiu-jitsu and like, helping people with like their fat loss goals and stuff, I think the reason I've gravitated towards so much studying of the mindset in the last few years is, one, it's what people need, right? The stuff that helps people get lean and get results, really quite simple, despite what
Yeah, what really
social media
works-
seems. Yeah.
What really works for fat loss?
So
Trevor?
yes,
Let's hear it.
we'll come back to it. We'll come back to
Okay.
it. But the stuff that works is really, really simple, right? And so I've gravitated towards it because, one, mindset like gets people to do the simple shit consistently and get results. Like, you don't have to be fancy. But two, it's like that's what I struggled with most forever was my mindset, right, around everything. But I wasn't aware of it. My mind was just racing all day long, so much that my face was just always tense. Like people, like I have a bitch face anyway, resting bitch face, but it was always just tense and like I just looked mad all the time. People didn't want to approach me. It wasn't because I was like that. It was because I was lost in thought and I had no fucking clue all day, thinking about the future, ruminating on the past, shit I can't control. I struggled socially with even just talking to one person, two-person group of people. I couldn't do it because everything that I was going to say, I had to think about first. And I was thinking about, what are they thinking about what I'm saying? I'm thinking about what they're going to maybe say. And then I say the wrong thing, right? They say good morning and I go, oh, good. I'm like, I thought he was going to say, how are you? Damn it. Right. So, you know what I mean? So like I spent all my teens, a lot of my 20s, just completely lost in thought in my own head, held me back, made me avoid stuff. I was like basically binge eating, like living by myself in Webster Groves, like just started jiu-jitsu, just started working in the city, didn't know anybody. It was kind of lonely. Just drinking Budweisers and eating fucking cheesecakes at night. Like just, and then at a certain point I was like, and just like cause that stuff helped quiet my mind. My problem was a solution. My eating shitty, my drinking, my whatever, it was a solution. It just didn't work out in the long term because it worked in the moment. Quieted my mind. I got more present and didn't think about all the shit that was whatever my mind was doing. But it wasn't a very practical or useful solution, right? And so at a certain point, I just got really fed up. And I think I gave my brother like my Xbox. I gave him my TV, and I just started reading. Like I had been a big reader in middle school, elementary, and like I kind of stopped in high school and started like fucking drinking with like an idiot, and continued that. And then at that point when I was living alone, I just like for whatever reason, don't remember how I got started, but I got back into reading, and that year changed my life. And I've just been in love with reading ever since. And it just like that was the spark for me that helped me figure out my own mind. And I went down lots of different paths: Stoicism, Zen Buddhism, like you name it, and learned so much. And that's where that kind of like generalist mindset started. It's like, okay, I'm not a Stoic, I'm not a Zen Buddhist, but like, hey, I like the stuff that they're doing here. Ooh, I like those meditation things. I like mindfulness. Let me pull that. That's cool. I like a sphere of control, Stoicism. Let me use that, right? And so on and so forth. And you just like put something that's more practical together for yourself that you like. And like, I wasn't yet applying it to my coaching because it was just all in-person training, right? And so I like all the philosophy, the psychology, all the reading I was doing, like it helped me so much, but I just thought it was free. You know, I didn't talk about it to many people. I didn't help anybody with it. But at a certain point I started to see like, hey, you know what? Maybe this is like really going to help people with like their nutrition and stuff. And so that's why I love what I do now. It's because it's such a big part of it, and I get to like that was something that was just for me, and now it's helping other people too.
Yeah, we I think you just posted a picture of the books that you read maybe this past year. I sent it to Zach. I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, we're gonna add some of these to the book.
Yeah,
Our list,
We got, we
yeah.
got a book club that we do. So
I like to post little stupid quotes from books in the morning sometimes,
I think it's
and
great.
good. And that's the thing too with social media is like if I'm going to do it consistently, I gotta really I want to think about what my ideal client wants and needs, and I got to speak to them and speak to their story and their journey. But I gotta post shit that I'm interested in too, and so like, yeah, I like to share book quotes.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Sometimes people go, "Oh, hey, what is this?" and then they read it and they, it helps them. But yeah, I think that post was like one of my coaches on staff was like, "Hey, looking to get back into some personal development reading. What are your top 5-ish books for 2024?" And I had that. I love that question.
Yeah,
Right.
I was gonna ask. I was like, do you have a favorite that you?
So I think for you guys, I think one that you guys should just based on everything you guys are into and what you talk about on the show, one I think you would really, really like is called Arate.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a fairly new book. It's not something you guys are gonna crush in a couple weeks and have a episode about. It's like a
Okay.
Bible.
Thick boy.
Yeah. It's 451 little mini micro chapters.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Like just but yeah, it's cool. I think you guys will like it. So that's what I would recommend.